Greek mythology is an expansive collection of stories that formed the foundation of ancient Greek culture and religion. These myths were not merely tales of gods and heroes. They explained the nature of the world, the origin of humanity, and the unseen forces that shaped existence. Passed down for millennia through the works of poets like Homer and Hesiod, as well as the great tragedians. In this video, we'll explore these myths in depth, from the creation of the cosmos to the birth of mankind, unraveling the myths that shaped the ancient world. The creation of the world. In the beginning, there was only chaos, a vast, formless void. Chaos was neither light nor darkness, neither land nor sea, but a chasm of boundless nothingness, swirling with potential yet lacking order. From chaos emerged the first primordial deities, each embodying a fundamental aspect of existence. Gaia, Earth, emerged, the nurturing mother of all life, forming the solid foundation upon which the world would be built. Tartarus, the endless abyss, was born in the deep recesses beneath Gaia, destined to be a prison for the most fearsome beings. Eros, the force of love and attraction, came into existence, ensuring the future union of deities and the continuation of creation. Erebus, the personification of deep darkness, and Nyx, the embodiment of night, also emerged, casting shadows over the newborn world. Gaia alone, without male assistance, gave birth to Uranus, the sky, Pontus, the sea, and Urea, the mountains. Uranus enveloped her with his vast expanse, forever stretching above her, his starlit presence resting upon her fertile lands. Uranus became her equal, and together, Gaia and Uranus gave birth to the mighty Titans, a race of 12 powerful, immortal beings, equally divided between 6 males and 6 females. The first Titan to be born was Coeus, the eldest, followed by Crius, Hyperion, Iapetus, Oceanus, and then the first female Titan, Mnemosyne, followed by Phoebe, Thea, Themis, Tessis, and Rhea. The final Titan to be born was Cronus, the wily, youngest, and most terrible of them. Following the birth of Cronus, Gaia and Uranus declared that the Titans would no longer be conceived. They also conceived the Cyclopes, one-eyed giants of unparalleled craftsmanship. Brontes, thunder, Steropes, lightning, and Arges, bright, and then they conceived the Hecatoncheires, Cottus, Briareos, and Gyges, monstrous beings with 100 hands and 50 heads, whose raw strength surpassed that of any other creature. However, the joy of creation soon turned to sorrow, for Uranus feared the power of his children. He saw their strength as a threat to his rule, and one by one, he forced them back into Gaia's womb, imprisoning them deep within her depths. Gaia writhed in agony, for her children, powerful though they were, remained trapped inside her, unable to see the light of the world. She longed for their freedom and plotted against Uranus, seeking a champion among her sons who would rise against their tyrannical father. Gaia, filled with anger and sorrow, sought vengeance against Uranus. She roamed the earth, calling upon her children to rise against their cruel father. Yet, none of the Titans dared to oppose Uranus, for his power was immense, and his wrath, unyielding. The eldest among them hesitated, fearing the consequences of rebellion. But one son, the youngest of the Titans, Cronus, was bold and cunning. Seeing his mother's distress and yearning for power, he agreed to her plan. Gaia, filled with both pride and sorrow, forged a mighty sickle from the indestructible adamantine for Cronus and concealed him within a hidden crevice on the slopes of Mount Athres, where he lay in wait for his father. When Uranus descended to mate with Gaia on Mount Athres, Cronus ambushed him. With the adamantine sickle he struck his father ruthlessly, delivering a single, devastating blow. The blade sliced through Uranus, castrating him, severing him from his divine power and leaving him in agony. Uranus cried out as his severed phallus fell into the sea, causing the waters to churn violently in foam with a strange, ethereal light. From this foam, Aphrodite, the goddess of love and beauty, emerged, her presence as captivating and enchanting as the sea from which she was born. As the blood of Uranus spilled upon Gaia, she conceived a new generation of dreadful beings, the Erinyes, vengeful furies driven by an insatiable thirst for vengeance, the Gigantes, monstrous giants of immense strength whose footsteps shook the ground, and the Melee ash tree nymphs. After defeating Uranus, Cronus released the imprisoned Hecatoncheires and Cyclopes by cutting open Gaia's womb. However, instead of freeing them, he swiftly imprisoned them in the dark depths of Tartarus, where they would remain confined. Cronus then banished Uranus, his father below Tartarus, ensuring his complete isolation. In doing all this, Cronus ascended to the position of ruler of the Titans, seizing control of the cosmos. In his fury, Uranus cursed Cronus, declaring that his children would rise against him, just as he orchestrated against him, his own father. Cronus took his place as ruler of the cosmos and freed his fellow Titans from Gaia's depths. He established a new order, known as the Golden Age, an era of peace and prosperity where the earth flourished without labor and suffering. He took his sister, Rhea, as his queen, and together, they ruled over the heavens, the earth, and the underworld. Nevertheless, the curse of Uranus haunted Cronus relentlessly, an ever-present reminder of his inevitable fate. The cycle of rebellion. Consumed by fear, Cronus vowed to break the cycle. Each time Rhea bore him a child, he seized the newborn and swallowed them whole, imprisoning them within his own body. One by one, Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon were all consumed, their lives confined to the shadowy depths of their father's stomach, never to see the light. Rhea wept bitterly, but Cronus did not care at all. Rhea, heartbroken and desperate, could no longer bear to see her children taken from her. When she became pregnant with her sixth child, Zeus, she sought counsel from Gaia, who guided her to a secret cave on the island of Crete, hidden among the lush forests of Dictys mountains. Guarded by the warriors known as the Curetes, who clashed their weapons together to mask the infant's cries, Rhea gave birth to Zeus in secrecy, far from Cronus's watchful eyes. To deceive her husband, she wrapped a stone in swaddling cloth and presented it to Cronus as their newborn son. Greedy and unsuspecting, Cronus swallowed the stone whole, believing he had once again secured his reign. To protect her newborn from Cronus, Rhea placed Zeus in the care of Themis. Themis, being a Titan too, could not hide the infant god on her own, so she took Zeus to Mount Ida and entrusted him to the gentle nymphs Amalthea, Adrastea the goddess of inevitable fate, and Ida, daughters of Melisseus. Zeus was nurtured by the gentle nymphs and his divine caretaker, Amalthea. She fed him with sweet honey and the rich milk of Eeks, a mighty she-goat, born of the sun god, Helios. Eeks was so terrifying that even the mighty Titans trembled at the mere sight of her. She was so fearsome that the Titans pleaded with Gaia to banish her from sight. Gaia entrusted the she-goat to Amalthea and concealed them within a hidden cave in the island of Crete. Adrastea gifted young Zeus with a marvelous toy ball, well crafted with divine artistry, its enchanting form dazzling with celestial beauty as he played in the depths of a secluded Cretan cave, away from the watchful eyes of his tyrannical father Cronus. As Zeus grew, so too did his power and wisdom. He became very strong and wise, prepared to challenge his father and fulfill the curse of Uranus. Upon reaching adulthood, an oracle advised Zeus to wield the skin of Eeks the mighty she-goat, as a formidable weapon in his impending battle against the Titans, due to its terrifying nature. Zeus followed the oracle instructions and acquired the sacred hide of Eeks, which he forged into the Aegis, a divine shield of unmatched might, embodying his dominion. Having been raised among the nymphs, Zeus was irresistibly drawn to Metis, a wise and beautiful, and Oceanid, a daughter of Oceanus. She became his trusted ally and devised a clever plan to aid Zeus in his mission. Metis instructed Zeus to disguise himself as a mere servant, and under her guidance, Zeus infiltrated the halls of Cronus, disguised as a humble cupbearer, waiting for the perfect moment to strike. When the moment arrived, Metis handed Zeus a cup of dark wine she secretly mixed with biting mustard, a powerful potion designed to shatter Cronus's hold and free the children imprisoned inside him. Unaware of the deception, Cronus downed it in one gulp. But the moment it hit his stomach, chaos erupted within him. His Titan gut twisted and wrenched in agony. The pain was unbearable, he roared in torment, and in that instant, his long-lost children burst forth. Hestia, Demeter, Hera, Hades, and Poseidon emerged, fully grown and ready for payback. The Titanomachy. War between the Titans and the gods. With his siblings at his side, Zeus declared war on the ruling Titans, initiating the great conflict known as the Titanomachy. The Titans, led by Cronus, took their stand on Mount Arthries, while Zeus and his siblings, known as the Olympians, established their stronghold on Mount Olympus. Among the Titans, Atlas and his brother Menoetius, sons of Iapetus and Clymene, stood as fierce adversaries. Atlas emerged as Cronus' most formidable lieutenant, his second in command, leading the charge against the Olympians. However, not all Titans sided with their kin. Themis, the wise and ancient Titan, along with her son Prometheus, foresaw the fall of the old order and allied with Zeus. For 10 relentless years, the war raged, shaking the very foundations of the cosmos. Both sides fought with unmatched ferocity, yet neither side was willing to yield, and for a time, the struggle remained at a standstill with no clear victor emerging. Seeing the battle locked in a stalemate, Gaia urged Zeus to free the Cyclopes and Hecatoncheias, assuring him that their strength would turn the tide in favor of the Olympians. Without hesitation, Zeus plunged into the abyss, where the monstrous camp stood guard. With the help of Styx, the underworld goddess, Zeus killed the beast and shattered the prison's gates, setting the Cyclopes and the Hecatoncheias free. But after centuries in chains, their strength had faded. To revive them, Zeus offered them nectar and ambrosia, the divine food of the gods. As they drank, their power surged back, their spirits rekindled, and with renewed might, they swore their allegiance to Zeus. To repay Zeus for their freedom, the Cyclopes, masters of divine craftsmanship, forged powerful weapons for the Olympians. They gifted Zeus the mighty thunderbolt, a weapon of pure celestial wrath. Poseidon received the mighty trident, a weapon that gave him supreme command over the seas. And for Hades, they crafted the helm of darkness, granting him the power to vanish from sight. Armed with these weapons of divine might, the Olympians prepared for their final assault. The tide of war shifted with the entrance of the Hecatoncheias, Briareus, Cottus, and Gyges, each possessing 100 arms and unparalleled strength. Their sheer might overwhelmed the Titans. They attacked the Titans with barrages of boulders as large as mountains, while Poseidon struck with his trident, shattering the earth beneath their foes. Hades, unseen, weaved through the battlefield, striking terror into the hearts of the Titans. Zeus unleashed his thunderbolts with relentless fury, scorching the battlefield and laying waste to the Titans. Hera, Demeter, and Hestia, though not as combat-oriented, used their divine influence to support their brothers. Hera rallying the Olympian forces, Demeter cursed the land of the Titans to starve them of food and herbs, and Hestia maintaining the divine hearth that sustained their war efforts. The final battle erupted into a cataclysmic clash between father and son, Cronus and Zeus. The heavens trembled as Zeus and Cronus clashed, each strike sending shockwaves through the cosmos. Wielding his colossal sickle, Cronus fought with desperate fury, but Zeus, armed with the unstoppable lightning of the thunderbolt, rained fury upon him. The sky blazed with fury as Zeus struck his father down, shattering Cronus's weapon and casting him into the abyss of Tartarus. With their leader defeated, the remaining Titans fell one by one. The Olympians pursued them to the very edges of the cosmos, and in the aftermath of the war, Zeus decreed their punishments. Most of the Titans, including Cronus, were cast into Tartarus, bound by adamantine chains, to languish in eternal darkness under the watch of the Hecatoncheias. Some, such as Oceanus, who had refrained from the conflict, were spared, while Atlas, for his role in leading the Titan armies, was condemned to carry the weight of the heavens upon his shoulders for all eternity. The gods' ascension to power. With the Titans overthrown, the age of the Olympians began. Zeus, now the supreme ruler of the cosmos, divided the realms among his brothers by drawing lots. Poseidon was granted dominion over the seas, Hades the underworld, and Zeus himself the sky as his domain. The Olympians established their rule from Mount Olympus, where they ruled, maintaining order and balance in the cosmos. The wives of Zeus and the birth of Athena. After Zeus and his siblings won Titanomachy, Zeus got married to Metis, the wise Oceanid, as his first wife. However, a dire warning from Gaia and Uranus foretold that Metis would bear children more powerful than their father. Fearing that Metis's child would one day overthrow him, Zeus devised a cunning trick. Knowing Metis could shapeshift, he lured her into transforming into a tiny fly, then swallowed her while she was pregnant with their daughter. Metis, with her boundless wisdom, endured within Zeus's mind, forever guiding him. There she gave birth to Athena and, in preparation for her daughter's emergence, crafted robes, armor, a shield, and a spear. As Athena matured, she clashed her spear against her shield, sending thunderous echoes through Zeus's head, causing him unbearable pain. Unable to endure it any longer, Zeus called upon Hephaestus, his son by Hera, to split his skull open and release whatever was trapped inside. Upon the river Triton's banks, Hephaestus brought down his blade, and at once, a brilliant light burst forth. From within, Athena emerged, fully grown, adorned in the armor her mother had crafted. With wisdom in her soul and war in her heart, she was soon named goddess of wisdom, strategy, and crafts. After Zeus swallowed Metis, he soon took Themis as his consort. Themis was not just a wife, she was Zeus's advisor, helping him establish order in the world after the chaos of the Titanomachy. From their union, he fathered the Hori, or Hours, the goddesses of the seasons, and the Moirai, the Fates, who spun, measured, and cut the threads of life, determining the destiny of gods and mortals alike. But Themis was a titan of divine foresight, knew her time beside Zeus was not eternal. Zeus was destined to marry another. And so, she stepped aside, making way for the one who would become the queen of Olympus. Though Themis had been a wise and dutiful consort, it was Hera who was meant to be Zeus's queen. But winning her was no easy feat. Unlike his previous wives, Hera resisted Zeus' advances. She had no intention of being just another conquest in his long list of lovers. So, Zeus devised a cunning trick. He transformed into a cold, shivering cuckoo and landed near Hera. Overcome with pity, she took the tiny bird into her arms. The moment she did, Zeus revealed his true form and declared his love. Tricked and trapped, Hera had no choice but to marry him. Their wedding was a grand celebration on Mount Olympus, attended by all the gods. The Hesperides, the nymphs of the evening, presented Hera with a golden apple tree, which would later become the legendary Garden of the Hesperides. But this union was far from peaceful. Though they ruled Olympus together, Zeus was notorious for his many affairs, and Hera, fiercely protective of her role as queen, did not take his betrayals lightly. She sought vengeance on his lovers and illegitimate children, making her one of the most vengeful goddesses in mythology. Despite their tumultuous relationship, Zeus and Hera had several children. Ars, the god of war, often despised by both gods and mortals for his bloodthirsty nature. Hebe, the goddess of youth, Eileithyia, the goddess of childbirth, and Hephaestus, the god of fire, blacksmithing, and craftsmanship. Displeased by his appearance, Hera cast him from Olympus. The creation of animals and humans. With the Titans gone and the Olympians reigning supreme, the world felt vast and empty. No life, no subjects or worshippers to sing their praises. To fill this void, Zeus turned to Prometheus, the clever Titan, and his brother Epimetheus, entrusting them with the task of shaping life on Earth. Epimetheus, whose name means afterthought, eagerly took the lead. He sculpted the animals first, shaping swift deer, soaring eagles, mighty lions, and slithering serpents. To each, he granted a special gift: wings to the birds, fangs to the wolves, thick hides to the bears, and venom to the serpents. Every creature received something to help them survive. But by the time he turned to humans, he had nothing left to give. No claws, no fur, no sharp teeth. Humans were left weak, vulnerable, and defenseless against the harsh world. Seeing this, Prometheus, whose name means forethought, stepped in. He shaped humans with greater care. He molded humans in the image of the gods, upright and noble, capable of reason and thought. Athena, the goddess of wisdom, admired his craftsmanship and breathed life into them, giving them intelligence and skill. However, humans were fragile and vulnerable, left to struggle in a world that was cold, dark, and merciless. After the creation of mankind, the mortals and immortals gathered at Mecone to determine their sacred sacrifices. Prometheus, the clever Titan, devised a trick to tip the scales in humanity's favor. He presented the Olympian with two offerings. One was a pile of rich, succulent meat hidden inside a rough, unappealing ox's stomach. The other was a heap of useless bones, carefully wrapped in glistening fat to make it look like a worthy prize. Zeus, drawn to the shining fat, chose the bones, unknowingly sealing the fate of all future sacrifices. Humans would keep the best portions of meat for themselves and offer only bones and fat to the gods. When Zeus realized he had been deceived, enraged, and as punishment, he withheld fire from humans, leaving them to shiver in the cold, powerless, and exposed to the elements. Prometheus and the gift of fire. Prometheus could not watch his creation suffer in the cold darkness. So, he devised a daring plan to steal fire from the gods. Under the cover of night, he ascended Mount Olympus and stole fire from Hephaestus's forge. He concealed the burning ember within a hollow fennel stalk and descended to the mortal world. With fire in their hands, mankind was transformed. They could forge weapons, cook food, build homes, and light the darkness. Fire was more than survival, it was knowledge, power, and independence from the gods. And so, the age of mankind began, not as mere subjects of the gods, but as beings who dared to challenge them. When Zeus discovered Prometheus's defiance, he was enraged. As punishment, he ordered Hephaestus to chain Prometheus to the peak of Mount Caucasus, where a mighty eagle, Zeus's sacred bird, would descend each day to tear out his liver. By night, it would grow back, ensuring his torment would never end. Prometheus endured this agony for countless years, refusing to submit to Zeus's will. But fate was not done with him yet. During the Age of Heroes, the great hero Heracles, as one of his 12 labors, ventured to the Caucasus, where he slew the eagle with a well-aimed arrow and shattered Prometheus's chains. Though freed, the Titans' destiny remained forever entwined with mankind, their fire, their defiance, and their unbreakable spirit. Pandora and the origin of suffering. Infuriated by humanity's newfound power, Zeus devised another punishment. Since Prometheus gave them fire, he gave them something far worse, suffering. He ordered Hephaestus to sculpt the first woman from clay, shaping her with divine beauty. The gods each bestowed gifts upon her. Athena granted wisdom and skill, Aphrodite gave her irresistible charm, and Hermes instilled within her a dangerous curiosity. They named her Pandora, the all-gifted. Zeus offered Pandora as a bride to Epimetheus, Prometheus's unwary brother. Though Prometheus warned him never to accept gifts from the gods, Epimetheus was captivated by Pandora's beauty and took her into his home. But Pandora did not come alone. The gods also gave Epimetheus a mysterious jar, later mistranslated as a box, sealed tightly and never to be opened. However, curiosity burned within Pandora, a trait Hermes had intentionally placed in her heart. She could not stop thinking about what lay inside the mysterious jar. One day, she could no longer resist the urge. With trembling hands, Pandora lifted the lid of the jar, unleashing all the evil spirits of suffering contained within. From it burst forth pain, disease, sorrow, envy, and death, spirits that flooded the world with agony, afflicting humanity for eternity. Terrified, Pandora slammed the lid shut, but it was too late. Only one spirit remained trapped inside, Olympus, the spirit of hope. Though Zeus had cursed humanity with suffering, hope endured. A small yet powerful force that allowed humanity to endure even the harshest trials. The contest between Athena and Poseidon. In the early days of Olympian rule, human civilization flourished. Grand cities were built, and mortals thrived under the watchful eyes of the gods. The gods took an active interest in the mortal realm. Many sought to extend their influence, eager to claim dominion over these thriving settlements. A newly founded city in the heart of Attica became the stage for a fierce contest between Athena, the wise and strategic goddess of war, and Poseidon, the mighty ruler of the seas. Both deities desired the city as their own, so they brought their dispute before the gods. To settle the dispute, Zeus decreed that each god would offer a gift to the city's people, and the one whose gift was deemed the most valuable would win patronage over the city. Poseidon, mighty and proud, struck the earth with his trident, and from the ground surged a magnificent spring. However, the water was salty and undrinkable, as it came from the depths of the sea. Though impressive, the people found little use for it. Athena then stepped forward and planted a single olive seed in the soil. Before the eyes of the gathered mortals, the seed quickly grew into a strong and bountiful olive tree. The people marveled at its usefulness, for from it they could harvest olives for food, oil for light and medicine, and wood for tools and shelter. Seeing the value of Athena's gift, the city's people chose her as their patron deity. Enraged by his defeat, Poseidon struck the earth once more, unleashing violent earthquakes and floods upon the land. But Zeus intervened, commanding him to halt his wrath. With no choice but to accept his loss, Poseidon withdrew, though his temperamental nature would continue to affect the land and sea of Attica for ages to come. From that day forward, the city was named Athens in honor of its patron goddess. The Parthenon, a magnificent temple, was later built in her honor, standing as a testament to her wisdom and protection over the city and its people. The Gigantomachy, the battle of the giants and the gods. Despite the Olympians' victory over the Titans, their reign was soon challenged again. Enraged by the imprisonment of her Titan children, Gaia incited the Gigantes, a race of colossal giants, each nearly as powerful as the gods themselves, to overthrow Zeus and the Olympians in a war known as the Gigantomachy. It is said to be the most important divine struggle in Greek mythology. Led by the formidable Alcyoneus and Porphyrion, the giants stormed Mount Olympus, hurling mountains and blazing trees upon the gods. The battle raged for years, but no matter how hard the Olympians fought, they could not slay the monstrous giants. Gaia, the primordial goddess of the earth, foresaw that the giants could not be slain by gods alone, only a mortal could land the fatal blow. To ensure the victory of the giants, Gaia scoured the earth for a sacred herb that would make them invincible. But before she could find it, Zeus uncovered her plan and ordered the sun, Helios, moon, Selene, and dawn, Eos, to cease their light, casting the world into shadow. Under this cover of darkness, Zeus scoured the land, uprooting every last trace of the herb, leaving the giants vulnerable. Zeus, knowing that only a mortal could strike the killing blow, entrusted Athena with finding a champion worthy enough to fight with the gods. Without hesitation, she summoned Heracles, the mightiest of all mortals. Armed with his bow and arrows laced with the deadly venom of the Lernaean Hydra, Heracles joined the battle against the towering giants, ready to turn the tide of war. His first target was Alcyoneus, the formidable leader of the giants. With deadly precision, Heracles struck him down, but to his astonishment, Alcyoneus rose again, revived by the very land of his birth, Pallene. No matter how many times he struck Alcyoneus down, the earth itself restored him, making him unstoppable. Athena, the goddess of wisdom and war, saw the flaw in Alcyoneus' power and advised Heracles to drag him beyond his native land. There Heracles held him by his hair and stabbed him to death. Porphyrion, enraged by the death of Alcyoneus, charged at Hera, but Zeus struck him with a thunderbolt, leaving him defenseless. Heracles seized the moment and finished him with an arrow to the heart. As the battle raged on, Apollo shot an arrow that pierced Ephialtes' left eye, and before he could recover, Heracles struck the right eye, blinding him completely. Eurytus was overpowered by Dionysus, struck down by his enchanted Thyrsus. Clitius was set ablaze by Hecate's torches, while Mimas was obliterated by a red-hot missile forged by Hephaestus. Athena, with unyielding might, crushed Enceladus beneath the island of Sicily. She then slew Pallas and used his skin to fashion her divine shield, the Aegis. Poseidon, wielding his immense power, broke off a piece of the island of Kos and crushed it upon Polybotes, burying him beneath the waves for eternity. From afar, Artemis loosed a fatal arrow into Gratian, while Hermes, cloaked in Hades' invisibility helm, silently ambushed and slew Hippolytus. The Moirai, the weavers of fate, descended upon Agrius and Thoas, beating them to death with their bronze clubs. One by one, the rest of the giants fell, struck down by Zeus's thunderbolts and slain by Heracles. The Gigantes were vanquished at last, their writhing bodies swallowed by the earth itself, forever buried, their restless spirits shaping the mountains and volcanic islands of the world. The Revolt of Hera, Poseidon, and Athena. Zeus ruled Olympus with absolute authority, his thunderbolts a symbol of his unchallenged might. Yet his rule was not without dissent. His wife, Hera, queen of the gods, had long resented his infidelities and his high-handed governance. At last, she found allies in Poseidon and Athena, who shared her frustrations. Together, they devised a daring plot to overthrow him and reshape Olympus. Their plan was bold. Knowing that even the mightiest of gods had moments of vulnerability, they waited until Zeus was deep in slumber. Under the cover of night, they moved. With great effort, they fastened unbreakable adamantine chains around his limbs, binding the king of Olympus so that he could not move. As he stirred, his confusion quickly turned to rage, but even his immense strength could not shatter the divine chains. The gods stood over him, triumphant, believing for a moment they had won. Yet the heavens had not forsaken their king. Far from Olympus, the sea nymph Thetis, a loyal ally of Zeus, witnessed the treachery. Without hesitation, she sought out the one being mighty enough to tip the balance, Briareus, one of the 100-handed Hecatoncheias, a titan of unfathomable strength and unwavering loyalty to Zeus. Answering her call, Briareus ascended to Olympus, and with effortless might, shattered the unbreakable chains that held Zeus captive. The moment Zeus was freed, his wrath was swift and merciless. Hera, as the chief instigator, suffered the greatest punishment. He hung her from the heavens with golden chains, forcing her to remain suspended in the sky, powerless and humiliated. Her cries echoed through Olympus, but Zeus was unmoved. Poseidon, humbled by his failure, was stripped of his authority for a time, his dominion over the seas momentarily curtailed. Athena, ever the strategist, recognized the folly of their rebellion and swiftly sought her father's forgiveness. Unlike the others, she was granted leniency, her wisdom sparing her from his rage. The revolt failed, and Zeus's rule remained unshaken. Though discord brewed beneath the surface, the gods learned one immutable truth: Olympus would always yield to its king. The birth of Typhon. Even after the Gigantomachy, Zeus's rule over the cosmos was not secure. Gaia, still enraged by the downfall of her children, sought revenge against the Olympians. In her fury, she bore one final and most terrifying offspring, the monstrous Typhon. Typhon was no ordinary creature, he was the greatest terror the world had ever seen. Towering above the mountains, his head brushed the very stars. His eyes burned with fire, casting an eerie glow upon the land, while his body was covered in countless writhing serpents. His wings, vast as storm clouds, blotted out the sun, and when he spread them, he could cover the heavens in darkness. His hands stretched from east to west, and from his legs coiled a mass of viper tails that struck the earth with deadly force. His voice was a cacophony of bestial roars, mingling the howls of wolves, the screams of lions, and the hiss of serpents. Typhon was not merely a beast of destruction, he was Gaia's ultimate weapon, the embodiment of chaos itself, meant to bring ruin upon the Olympians and restore the old order. Zeus versus Typhon, the battle for the cosmos. As Typhon emerged from the depths of the earth, a shadow fell over Mount Olympus. Typhon sought to overthrow Zeus and claim dominion over the cosmos. The sight of Typhon's monstrous form struck terror into the hearts of the gods. One by one, they all abandoned Olympus, fleeing in desperation. Seeking refuge, the gods traveled to Egypt, where they disguised themselves as animals to escape Typhon's wrath. Apollo became a raven, Hermes an ibis, Artemis a cat, and Aphrodite, along with her son Eros, transformed into fish. But Zeus, the mighty ruler of Olympus, would not cower, he alone stood his ground. A cataclysmic battle erupted between them, shaking the heavens and the earth. Zeus hurled thunderbolts, but Typhon's strength was unmatched. He retaliated with storms and hurricanes, uprooting mountains and sending them crashing into the sea. Rivers boiled, and the heavens roared with chaos as their battle raged. Typhon's power was overwhelming. With his massive hands, he overpowered Zeus and severed his sinews from his limbs, rendering him powerless. Typhon imprisoned Zeus within a cavern in distant Cilicia, deep within the earth. The world stood on the brink of ruin, the Olympians scattered, and all seemed lost. But Hermes, the swift messenger god, along with the healer Pan, stealthily infiltrated Typhon's lair and freed Zeus from his captivity. They retrieved his stolen sinews and restored his strength. Rejuvenated and enraged, Zeus took to the skies, summoning the full force of his divine might. The heavens roared as Zeus pursued Typhon across the earth. The battle raged across vast lands, from the mountains of Thrace to the plains of Anatolia. Typhon, wounded but relentless, fled towards the western edge of the world. Yet, Zeus's fury could not be quelled. With a final strike, he unleashed the full fury of his lightning bolts, scorching Typhon beyond recognition. Typhon was defeated and cast beneath Mount Etna, the towering volcano in Sicily. There, he was sealed beneath the mountain, his fiery breath escaping through the volcano's peak, causing the eruptions and tremors that shake the land to this day. Though buried, Typhon's wrath was never truly extinguished. His rage continues to rumble beneath the earth, a reminder of the great battle between chaos and order. The expansion of Olympus's power. The battle between Zeus and Typhon marked the final challenge to the reign of the Olympians. With Typhon's defeat, Zeus secured his position as the unchallenged ruler of the cosmos. The gods returned to Olympus, order was restored, and the heavens, earth, and underworld remained divided among the great gods. To this day, the eruptions of Mount Etna serve as a testament to the unrelenting fury of Typhon, the greatest threat Olympus ever faced. The war between gods and monsters had ended, but the scars it left upon the world remained, etched into the very land itself. Having overcome the challenges to his rule, Zeus solidified his dominion. He reigned supreme over heaven and earth, his rule challenged but never broken, his power unmatched in the cosmos. The Olympians expanded their influence across the world, interacting with mortals and shaping their destinies. The gods and goddesses established their temples and cults, receiving offerings and devotion from mankind. Greek mythology has stood the test of time, shaping modern literature, film, and art for generations. Its timeless tales of power, betrayal, love, and fate offer profound insights into human nature and the ancient world. As long as these tales are passed down, the gods and heroes of old will remain immortal in the minds of those who tell their stories. Let me know your opinion in the comments section, and if you enjoyed this video, be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell so you don't miss any more legendary tales from history and mythology. Thanks for watching, and until next time, keep exploring the myths that shape our world.